everybody. Actually, good morning. Well, it's good morning to me. It's about 7:45 Eastern. Heading off to class. Gonna go learn some stuff about physics. Yeah, it sounds like fun, doesn't it? Wanted to pop in here this morning and do a little rambling. I was gonna wait till the drive home this afternoon to do it. I may actually do 2 rambles today. I don't know, but there was a lot of stuff on my mind, and I kind of wanted to go ahead and dump some off and make room for more. I am going to school. I got to learn, so I got to clear out some of this junk. I wanted to touch base on something that transpired last night on YouTube. Good friend of mine, mentor, the reason that I even have a channel, Prepper Tribe, did a live stream last night. It was an awesome live stream. He had an awesome guest on at the beginning, NomVet70. He really shined a very intelligent light on quite a few topics, especially when it came to the comparison that the media is making to the Vietnam withdrawal versus the Afghanistan withdrawal, and how they're trying to compare those two. And there really isn't much of a comparison, except for the way people were dressed and the fact that everybody was carrying guns. So he was a really awesome guest. I mean, that was a really good stream last night. Good job, Tribe. I enjoyed every single minute of it. I tried to hang around for the second part, but I got tired. I had to get some sleep. He did go long. He did 2 streams. The second stream, believe it or not, I think Prepping Outside the Box ran out of crayons. He came out of his cave and popped up on the chat, which was awesome. It's good to see Box. And it was really neat, you guys, because I don't really know Prepping Outside the Box that well. I've talked to him in a couple of live streams. I've never been interviewed by him. He's never interviewed me. I do not have his contact information. We don't talk. But if you guys had been following my rants and my streams, and you saw Prepping Outside the Box on Prepper Tribe's live stream last night, you guys will notice there were a whole lot of things that I say that he repeated last night, and there was a whole lot of things that he said last night that I've said before, which feels good in a way to sort of be validated by a brother in arms, but also it should shed light on this entire media hocus pocus circus thing they're trying to pull over your eyes when it comes to the weapons and the equipment that were left behind. And just to reiterate, the U.S. military has left the equipment and supplies on the field in theaters of war for a long, long time, okay? The military-industrial machine, when it comes to shipping home a bunch of Humvees versus just buying new ones, and buying new ones is cheaper, that's what they're going to do, okay? If it's cheaper to leave stuff on the tarmac and just get brand new stuff when you get home with 0 miles, 0 mechanical issues, that's what they're going to do. Legitimately, it's a smart business move. And that's one of the reasons why the military budget is through the roof. They just get new stuff. There were several comments made last night, and some people don't quite understand, so I'll just kind of reiterate it a little bit. They say, I'm tired of seeing, the bad guys wearing U.S. Army uniforms. Look, just because it's camouflage does not mean it's a U.S. Army uniform. It's a piece of cloth. It's a piece of clothing. Okay? You can find that stuff anywhere in the world. I mean, it's all over the place. All right? So don't get upset about somebody deciding to wear camouflage. Okay? Don't get upset about seeing look, here's one thing Afghanistan is not short on, and Iraq is not short on. Guns and ammo. They're everywhere. They're legitimately everywhere. So seeing a big pile of weapons in Iraq or Afghanistan really, honestly, is not that big of a deal because they're everywhere. There's probably 2 or 3 weapons per person in those countries. It's just normal, okay? Another thing, I saw more news streams last night and yesterday, and they're still showing videos of these weapon caches. And there was one, actually, a contractor that posted probably a minute and a half long video, and he's right by the airfield, by the tarmac, and he's walking through this outdoor, kind of like a undercover area that you'd see at Lowe's or Home Depot outside, where it just has a roof to cover the wood and the wood sitting on the shelves, And on these shelves were just random firearms, a few AKs, some random stuff, a few M4s, maybe 15 or 20 M4s, some body armor, I think a couple of Kevlars, just random stuff just sitting on these shelves. Okay, a couple things I want to point out to you. Number one, the U.S. military does not store weapons and equipment that way, okay? They're secured, number one. Number two, a soldier or a Marine in theater, can't speak for the Navy or the Air Force, but a soldier or a Marine in theater, their weapon never leaves their side. The only time my weapon or your weapon would leave your side in theater is if you're on the table and the docs are working on you, okay? And it's in the room unless it was left behind on the field. So yeah, your weapon is a sensitive item. It stays with you at all times. My weapon never left my side from the time I was in the States to the time I returned to the States and returned it to the armor, okay? So yeah, thinking for 1 second that a military commander is going to say, leave everything where it's at, hop on the trucks, we're leaving. It doesn't work that way. Number one, it's a stupid order. Number two, the soldiers and the Marines aren't going to go for that. You're not going to find a Marine or a soldier with any kind of mental above the level of 5th grade that's going to willingly take off their Kevlar, take off their body armor, and lay them both on the shelf beside their weapon. Okay? Yeah, so get that out of your head. It's not going to happen, okay? I was actually on a detail into Crit right before I rotated back to the States, and when we got on the Chinook to fly back, I can't remember what fob we were flying into, but the crew chief actually was going around with a big box asking everybody to turn their ammo in. I laughed at him. I had a Navy SEAL sitting beside me, a good friend of mine, and he looked at me and looked at him and said, man, you need to get out of my face. And he goes, no, we're collecting the ammo now. And I'm like, I told him, I said, dude, if the bird goes down, I said, you can have my ammo when we get out of theater. That's when you can have my ammo, period. Get out of my face. And that's the same mental, that's where you're at when you're in a combat situation or you're in a combat area. You're not giving up your Kevlar. You're not giving up your body armor. You're not giving up your weapon, and you're certainly not going to give up your ammo. You're certainly not going to walk through an outdoor warehouse and just lay the stuff on the shelf. Okay, I'm going to tell you what that was laying on the shelf. That was where the Afghan security forces or the Afghan police store their stuff in between shifts. When they come in from the villages and they go to work to get their American money for the day, they grab their weapons, their ammo, their body armor, and they stand their post. And when they're done, they put it back on the shelf, and the next guy comes in and he gets issued the same stuff, and he uses it over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, number one. Number two, when you see a room or a pile full of weapons, don't automatically be the 5-year-old and assume that stuff works. Okay, there's a term called unserviceable. You see a room full of M4s, just because they look like functioning M4s does not mean they still have their firing pins. It does not mean they have the bolt carrier group still inserted inside the upper receiver. If you remove the bolt carrier, that weapon is it's a paperweight from here on out. Yeah, you can get a new one and slide it in there. Is it going to work? Is it going to malfunction? Yeah, I don't know. But here's the thing. Why go through all that trouble to repair an M4 in a country that lives on AK-47s? You can probably get 50 AK-47s, if not more, for the price that you can get an American-made M4 carbine. I'm just telling you, it is what it is. So don't get all, I can't believe we left all this equipment. Now, the vehicles, supposedly aircraft, supposedly attack choppers, look, I don't see that happening if they're serviceable. If there's an Apache helicopter over there, multi-million-dollar piece of equipment, and it works, it's leaving the theater with us, unless it has been sold to one of our allies. Period. Just because it was made in America does not mean that we own it anymore, okay? And let me tell you something, as far as the Humvee goes, there's a reason you see a whole lot of Toyota trucks. There's a reason you see most of the bad guys driving those Toyota four-wheel drives. It's because they can drive for 400,000 miles with no oil. They're reliable, and it's hard to kill them. It doesn't take much to stop a Humvee if you do not perform regular professional maintenance on these things. So, yeah. Most of that equipment that you see in country, I would lay money on the simple fact that it is either unserviceable, it was rendered unserviceable before we left, because you notice none of the videos show an up-armored Humvee going through Kabul with Taliban on the back, using a Madus, and lighting up the town. You haven't seen that. You just seen like this random vehicle sitting in the middle of nowhere, or this random old jet plane sitting on the airfield, which has probably been there for 20 years. Or, I didn't see any pictures of the Apaches or the attack helicopters that were supposedly left. But, it doesn't. I mean, look at what happened in Somalia in '93, in October of '93 in Mogadishu. Look at how many people died just to rescue downed soldiers and destroy the sensitive equipment on those helicopters. That's some legitimate hardcore stuff. And if you heard Vet 70 last night, they carried thermite grenades and white phosphorus, and you know what, we did too with your crypto equipment and your comms. If you're getting compromised, if you're going to get overrun, and you and everything that you can't move, and possibly you yourself are going to be captured, you're lighting it up. You're pulling the pin on that thermite. You're pulling the pin on the white phosphorus. You're laying it on the radio. You're laying it on top of the sensitive equipment, and that white phosphorus is going to burn right through anything you sit it on. I mean, you lay it on the hood of a Humvee, and it's going to go straight through the engine block to the ground. So there are means of disabling all that equipment. So we need to get past this media circus about the U.S. left all this equipment. No, the U.S. sold a whole lot of the equipment. The Afghanis that it was issued to left it laying where it was, okay? They didn't come to work. The Afghani police and the Afghani army didn't come to work. That's why it was laying there. Because I promise you, I can't say 100%, but I'd probably say 98.9% of the soldiers and Marines that came home and disembarked the plane, their weapons were with them. Their Kevlar was with them. Their body armor was with them. It's issued to them. They have to turn it in. They're responsible. They're monetarily responsible for that equipment. Okay? So guys, please get past that. Look past that curtain and look at what's really going on. It's a distraction. Now, granted, there are people losing their lives over there, and that is horrible. There are people losing their lives in ridiculous ways, and it's horrible. There are women and children that have grown up underneath the American flag for the last 2 decades, and now their freedoms are going to be restricted. But here's the thing. Here's what I see in this, or my takeaway in this. If I'm an Iraqi person, an adult, and I've been there for the last 40 years, and I had a child born in 2002, and that child's now 19 years old or whatever. I had 20 years to figure out, hey, Iraq's going to suck forever. America's not. We didn't buy the joint. We didn't move in to stay forever. I mean, so if you're in Afghani, and you thought America was going to stay forever and it was going to be secure, and it was going to become the 51st state, you're delusional. You're just as delusional as those people that tried to hang on to the outside of an aircraft that was going to fly 10,000 miles over the Atlantic Ocean. Do I feel bad that they fell off and died? Yeah. But the first thing that comes to my mind when I see that happening was, what the hell were you thinking? You're going to hang on to an aircraft. Yeah, that makes. I mean, I feel bad for them, but I don't even know what to say about that. That's just the most. That's just crazy. And then people come back. Well, that's how desperate it is to get out of the country. You're a military-age male, single, hanging on to the side of a C-17. How desperate can you be? You can obviously run. You can physically do some stuff. Walk your butt to the border and cross over and go somewhere else. I don't understand that. I mean, it's not like you were there with your wife and kids. If you were, I can understand you freaking out wanting to get on the plane. But from what I saw on that plane, they were all military-age males, which means they left their wife and their kids sitting on the tarmac. So that legitimately, that does not play into my mind. I don't understand what that was. I think it was a photo op that went bad. If there really were people that hung on to the aircraft after it took off. So I don't know. I'm just going to leave that one alone. If it happened, it sucked. If it didn't happen, they really manipulated the media really well on that one, or the media manipulated us really well on that one. Look past it. Look at the distraction. Here's the facts. The Taliban has decided to be nice. They're dropping press releases. They're not going to be mean to the Afghani people. They're playing nice with China. All the lithium in the mountains. That's the picture you need to be worried about. You need to be worried about China. You need to be worried about China and Afghanistan. That's what you need to worry about. China and Russia have already recognized the Taliban as a legitimate government of the country of Afghanistan. That is the big issue. That is what you need to focus on. Not a bunch of broke down weapons, dirty Kevlars, and 2 or 3 sets of body armor sitting on the shelf at the airfield that was issued to, sold to, or given to the Iraqi people years ago. All right, that was a business transaction. That is not our equipment anymore. You guys have a great day. I will talk to you later.